All right, welcome back. As you likely already know, I'm Johnny, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through a deep lymphatic assessment. Now, I'm going to have you do this because the vast majority of the people that I work with are struggling with aches and pains, chronic fatigue, autoimmune conditions, or inflammation of some kind, and it's almost impossible to recover from those things when we have lymphatic restrictions. The lymphatic system is responsible for clearing toxins from our body, the viruses, the bacteria, the metabolic waste, and everything else. It's a huge part of our immune system, and it's a huge part of our circulatory system. When the waste can't get out, the good stuff can't get in. Our blood can't bring in oxygen, we can't get nutrients in, and virtually everything becomes inflammatory. All right, as we go through this, I'm going to have you lay down in a comfortable position. We want to be able to relax our body so that we can work deep into our tissues. That's going to allow you to find the lymph nodes and determine if there are swollen areas, anything's painful or tender. All right, let's go ahead and lay down and I'll walk you through the steps. All right, once we're laying down on our back, we're going to bring our hands to our sternum. We're going to feel in between the spaces between each rib, right where they come in to our sternum. And we're just going to work our way down from our collarbones all the way down to our last rib. Now we're feeling for any tender areas or anything that is painful. Now, as we finish up going down our sternum, we're going to go to our left collarbone. This is the end point for our lymphatic system. Everything circulates back to the left collarbone. This is the thoracic duct. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our hand right underneath the collarbone. You can kind of push in and swirl back and forth clockwise as well as counterclockwise. We're feeling for anything swollen. You may feel little hard bumps. It may just feel tender or painful. Then from here, we do the same thing on the right side, working from the inner part of the collarbone right by our sternum out towards our shoulder. And you're just working underneath the collarbone. Now, after we get done there, we're going to go up along the side of our neck. This is the SCM muscle. It comes up underneath our ear at our jugular foramen. This is the hole that drains your brain at night. It comes right down through these lymph nodes back into the lymphatic and the thoracic ducts at our collarbones. So you're just going to feel right along the side of that muscle from underneath our ear all the way down to the collarbones. And again, nothing should be tender or painful here. And then we're just going to work right underneath the ear. We can feel that along the jawline on both sides. So these areas are extremely important. Brain inflammation can influence gut inflammation and inflammation in every organ in the body. And your brain actually shrinks at night and then drains. It power washes itself with cerebral spinal fluid and then drains right through here, 70% on the left side, 30% on the right side. So if we have a lot of congestion over here on the left side of our body, we know that's going to be a problem and we're going to need to get that cleared. All right, from there, we're going to go into our armpit. So we're going to go into the rib cage, deep in the armpit, and we're just going to feel in between the ribs, kind of pull the pec muscle and the breast tissue out of the way, and you can start to feel in between those ribs all the way down the side of our body. Now, a lot of times people are going to feel a lot of tenderness here, especially when you're dealing with a lot of inflammation. And you may even feel hard bumps. They feel like little rocks or little bumps that your fingers roll over. Then we do the same thing on the right side. So I go into the armpit, I pull the pec out of the way, and then I'm just getting my fingertips in between the ribs, and I'm feeling around. All right, we come down to the bottom of our rib cage. We're going to go right to the center of our belly, right at the xiphoid process. This is right at the bottom of our sternum. And I'm just going to take my hands like this, and I'm going to work right down the middle of my belly, right down the center of the six pack. And now I want you to be laying down for this, and we're feeling for any tenderness, especially when we get about 2 to 3 inches above the belly button. That's the biggest lymph node in the body. It's the cisterna chyli, and that's going to pump lymphatic fluid up out of your lower body, out of your organs, to be drained at the left collarbone. So if we have a lot of tenderness right in here, That's going to be common with people that have gut issues or ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, things like that. So once we feel down the center of our belly, and that lymph node actually sits on your spine all the way to the back. So what you want to do is take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, try to let tension out of your belly and let your hands sink deep, deep in there and kind of feel around. Now, you don't have to get to your spine. You're likely going to notice it right away as soon as you put pressure on your belly, if it's there. Now, after we split the belly down to the belly button, you're going to feel around the belly button. There's a lot of lymph nodes circling the belly button. I like to do the 12 o'clock, the 3 o'clock, the 6 o'clock, and the 9 o'clock, just kind of working your way around. And then I'm going to bring you back up to our rib cage. We're going to go under our rib angles. This is going to be something that we work on in a lot of my programs and a lot of the videos, is working underneath our rib angle. This is the rib angle on my left side. And this is our spleen. So two things here. Our diaphragm connects into the rib cage here. A lot of times we hold tension in our diaphragm, especially if we are neck breathers or chest breathers. So we're going to break up some of the connective tissue, some of the fascia that bonds our diaphragm into our rib cage, kind of like a deep tissue massage. And then you're also going to work up under the ribs, and we're going to feel if there's any tenderness there in our spleen. So our spleen and our liver play a big role with toxin removal. So that is not too uncommon to find some tenderness under the left side of the rib cage. Now we're going to do the same thing on the right side. So let's go over to the right side. This is our liver. A lot of times, especially with the gut issues, the ulcerative colitis, the Crohn's disease, depending on the severity, you may have a lot of congestion in the liver. Again, I exhale so I can let tension out of my belly, and then I'm just going to push up underneath the ribs and see what I feel. Now, when I was really sick, just touching this area made me feel really sick. So go gentle if it's your first time, kind of see what you find, and then we'll work from there. All right, from there, we're going into our lower body. We're going to go into our groin crease. So if you wear whitey tighties, this is where the line of your underwear goes. I'm going to sit down so I can show you this. All right, we're going to work deep into the groin crease. And again, just feeling for any tenderness. And then the big one here is right under this strap of tendons. So this muscle on your inner thigh, everything comes up to this big strap. You can probably hook your hand right underneath it. You're going to get deep in the groin, get real personal, and you're going to pull up. And you're going to feel if there's any tenderness. Right up underneath that tendon, there is a huge patch of lymph nodes. And a lot of times when we have desk jobs or we spend a lot of time sitting, this doesn't get moved. Our joints need to move to help pump the lymphatics. The lymphatics don't have a heart, so it's dependent on our breath and movement. Again, if we sit a lot, this is an area that we're probably going to find a lot of congestion. Now, we do this on both sides, so take a second, feel both sides. You got to pull up pretty deep. If you're laying down, I like to bring my leg up into what I call the Captain Morgan position. So just up and out to the side. And then you can hook deep up under that tendon. All right. Now, we're going to go behind our knees. Not directly behind our knees, but just above the knee joint. There's kind of a soft spot between two big tendons right there. So we're going to feel underneath the knee, and then we're going to feel just below the knee, right at the top of the calf muscles. And again, we do this on both sides. Now, when we have restrictions in our lower body, so below the waist, our feet are the furthest point away from the end point of the lymphatic system. This circulates everything back up. So if we have restrictions down here, it's going to impact everything. Actually, restrictions anywhere in the lymphatic system impact inflammation or influence inflammation everywhere in the body. It's like a single hose that runs everywhere. And if we have one kink, if we have one area of restriction, the whole thing becomes restricted. So you may have restrictions at your collarbones that are causing inflammation in your gut, possibly even inflammation in your knees, because if we're restricted up here, nothing from below is getting back up. I hope that made sense. All right, we're feeling behind the knee on both sides, above the knee joint and below. And then the last place that we're going to check is right here on our ankle. Let's keep my balance here. I'm just going to have you bring your hands right here around the malleolus, right here on the side of the foot. And I'm just going to feel up along the inside of my ankle. Now, people that struggle with foot inflammation, so if you have swollen ankles, if you deal with chronic plantar fasciitis, any restriction points from here on up can be influencing that. It's going to be really hard to heal your foot if we have any restrictions on the way up. All right, that's it. That is our lymphatic assessment. Now, we do a lot of lymphatic work in all of my programs, the exercise programs as well as the recovery programs. But if you find a lot of those areas to be tender, these are our major restriction points. If you're dealing with a lot of inflammation or an autoimmune condition, I want you to go through the deep lymphatic autoimmune recovery program alongside any of the workout programs that you're following. This is going to help your body recover quicker. It's going to prevent flare-ups, and it's probably going to ease a lot of the symptoms that you may be having from your autoimmune disease. I use these therapies to manage a severe Crohn's colitis condition, and they help a lot, more so than anything else. All right, let me know how it went. I'll talk to you more about the program, and I'll see you in the next video.